Hey guys, in this video we're going to go through a few of the more specific details on how to attract a woman through text and trigger attraction and chemistry with examples. Okay, so the first one was do introduce yourself. So the key point there is simply that if she's a good one, she's going to have other guys that she's talking to or other guys that are trying to talk to her. So you definitely want to make sure that when you send her your first message by text that you put your name in there. Not just, hey, how's it going? Or hi. Oh, anyways, okay, we'll get into more of that. All right, so that's number one. Number two, don't be boring and forgettable. You've got to remember that even if you do give her your name, you might not be the only Connor in her contacts. So you don't want to be just another John Doe. John Doe? That doesn't sound good. That sounds like bad, actually. Anyways, you don't want to be just another somebody in her contacts that doesn't have any life to their name when she looks at it. So that brings us to number three. You do need to make yourself memorable so that you can stand out amongst any of the other Charlies who she's talking to or trying to talk to her. So an example, because you want examples, of the way you can do this is by associating your name when you first either provide your name and contact information if you're online or what have you, or the best thing to do is to put your name and number in her phone. If she just actually gives you her phone, it's better if you can just put your own contact details in there. It's also easier, but this way you can be sneaky about it and you can put in something like John ... the IT geek wink, or John the IT geek ... smart guy with a smart job wink, or Guitar John, or Guitar John who will strum a song for you or serenade you, or Starbucks John, because maybe you met at a Starbucks, or Starbucks John ... has good taste in women wink. So the thing is that with the IT geek or with the guitar, that would have been something that she'd be aware of where that came from. So if you mention if you met her on a dating site profile and she mentioned something about playing the guitar, or you have it in your profile about your guitar, then that will potentially trigger her to remember exactly who you are and make you stand out from anybody else who's just John, not Chad. And then the difference between, hey, it's John, the IT geek wink, and hey, it's John, the IT geek ... a smart guy with a smart guy job wink, is whether or not you know how interested she is. If you can tell her level of attraction is higher, let's say 6, 7 and up, even 6 is 6, you could go with 6. If her attraction level is 6 or up, then you would go with the longer, cheekier introduction. If you're not sure about her attraction level, then you might want to play it safe by keeping it to the shorter version, John the IT geek wink. So the other thing you can do is, if you're not really sure, maybe she's like a 5 or 6 on her attraction level to you, and you're not sure that she's super, super attracted to you, then you might start with the shorter one. And then if you do get a favorable reply from her, then you can add the little extra bit ... a smart guy with a smart job wink or something like that if the reply is favorable. Because the key is that if a woman is attracted to you, especially the higher her attraction level is for you, the dumber the things you can say, and it won't matter because everything that you say will be cute and adorable and she'll have butterflies for you. So the only reason why you want to sort of be a little bit careful is if you're not sure about her attraction level. If her attraction level towards you is under 5 out of 10, then yeah, it's pretty tricky. Then you're going to have to, let's just abort mission. Stick with the ones that at least, could be on the fence or have a higher attraction levels for you. Here's another example along those lines. I'm actually going to just refer to my notes because this is a lot of information. So I wrote down, let's say you text her with, hey, Ashley, it's John, the IT geek wink. And then her reply is, hi, John, IT geek, LOL. What are you up to? ? And you say ... a smart guy with a smart guy job, getting ready to do some guy stuff, wink. Actually, I'm going to work so I can save the world from the coronavirus. What are you up to today? So yes, again, this is super cheesy, but as I said before, if her attraction level is high, then it's not going to matter. She's just going to be like, oh, wow, that's super confident and funny, ha ha ha. The other thing too is that you're subtly letting her know that you are smart, that you do have a good job, that you take care of your health, and that you have a sense of humor. So that was one example. You can, of course, modify it to be your own so that it's custom. but you kind of play with that one and use that as your introduction. So some of the things that she might take away from that little blurb of text that I just described, if she's interested or if she's like on the fence and she's leaning toward you because of this conversation, it's that one, you're smart, so she can trust you to make smart decisions and protect the two of you and or your future family. These are all things that women subconsciously are vetting for in anybody unless they are only interested in sex. So if they're only interested in sex, then you better look like Chad or Tyrone or have lots of money or charm. Anyways, if she doesn't have higher than a 5 attraction level, it's going to be tough if she's only interested in getting down dirty. All right, so the other things that if she is looking for a potential relationship, the other things that she would take out of that small little bit of text is that you have a secure job that won't land you and your future family living under a bridge. Working out, all things considered, you're going to live long enough to support her. I don't mean just financially, but to be there for her and your potential family if you have one together. Save the world. Well, you're sure of yourself and not afraid to show it. And she translates that into meaning you won't let others bamboozle you or your family. And of course, asking about her, you're socially aware enough to not be completely selfish for just your own intentions. So that's what that little conversation did. Now, the next one is don't start a conversation with, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? How are you? What doing? Etc. So basically, any of those openers make you look lazy and or boring and or dumb. None of these things are attractive to a woman. You might be able to get away with this if you're under 20, but any quality woman is going to still appreciate a more creative and thought out text than the "was up." So an example of what you can do instead of that is you could send her a message saying, on a scale of, I shouldn't have got out of bed today, and I should buy a lottery ticket today. How's your day, Ashley? So much more interesting than "was up." Sorry, the "was up" texts are so bad. It's like those are roll your eyes texts that, women get way too often. Okay, next one is do give a compliment, but. So you want to make sure that it's specific about her, and you're better off if you can make it about her personality or some kind of non-physical trait. So you want to be specific and creative. An example is, if you know her last name, Ashley Brown, you might be the smartest pretty girl I've met. So again, or you could say, here's another one, Ashley Brown, you might have the most interesting profile I've seen. Banjo, really? You play the banjo? Okay, that was a little naughty, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so the first example did hint a little bit about physical in that she's pretty, but it was the smart that you were getting her with. So it's like, you're basically saying, how can a pretty girl be smart? But you'd be like, So again, that's a compliment that is not physical. So then that brings us to the next one. Number 6 is don't give a sexual or physical compliment, at least not in the beginning. So the reason is, and again, unless you're just looking for a hookup, is because women automatically know if you're actually messaging her, she knows that you're sexually attracted to her. But if you put it right out there, then she feels that that's the only thing you're attracted to. You just want to have sex. And if that's just what she wants too, then great. But most women want to feel that they have value beyond just their bits and parts in when a guy is attracted. So if you stay away from the T&A zones, you can say pretty, you can say, sort of general compliments, but don't go overboard with that. And especially, do the giveth and taketh away. Otherwise, especially if they're pretty, they've already had tons of compliments. Guys are always complimenting them or telling them they're hot. Okay, yeah, so don't overuse emojis. This is what women use. Women love emojis. Women love exclamation points. Women use like 70% more exclamation points, even in professional email, than men do. Like, unless you're gay. And I was like, yeah, that's not politically correct. But, I have gay friends and they're the ones that use emojis. Now, not all gay guys use emojis, I know. But, okay, anyway. You don't even want to be a question mark there. So yeah, resist your urge to use the emojis. So here's a rule of thumb. If you're in your 20s or under, maximum 2 emojis per conversation. If you're in your 30s, maximum 1 emoji per conversation. And if you are 40s and up, never or rarely use an emoji. Instead of the emoji wink, just do the standard wink that is old-fashioned. Yeah. Next, do be brief. So basically you want to save something for in person, whether it's going to be face-to-face in person in the real world or face-to-face on Skype or FaceTime online, but you want to save something for when you're actually communicating together. So what's the Wingmam motto? Always leave them wanting more. Right, yes, that's it. And as I've said in other videos, you mostly want to save texting for information, not conversation. Again, the younger you are, you'll get away with more texting. The older you are, you want to advance into other forms of communication sooner than later. Otherwise it gets boring. Next one, number 9, don't send multiple texts or questions in a row. It just seems over anxious and too keen. You don't want to be a keener. At the same time, the next one is you don't want to send one-word replies. So otherwise that just looks, again, either lazy or uninterested or like you're a player. And again, if you're looking for something that's not just a hookup, then these are probably not the suggestions for you. But if you want something that could potentially be more than just a hookup with a decent girl, then these are the suggestions for you. Okay, so number 11, do use correct grammar and spelling. This doesn't really matter when you're in person and the conversation is verbal, because she's not going to pick up if you spelt your and your wrong, or there and there, or what's the other common one? Anyways, so she's not going to pick up on those as much in person, verbal, but if you're texting and you make these kind of subtle mistakes, she might notice them. Some women are sticklers for it, some women aren't, but it doesn't hurt if you actually learn the proper usage of these words. Also, just a note about being lazy with these words. If you are, again, younger, like if you're under 20, then you can get away with lazy language a little bit more, but it's still a lot more impressive if you're not lazy. So, for example, cringeworthy would be how are you? Better would be how are you? I will rate it. And the best would be how are you today, Ashley? Question mark. You have to just remember that men and women are different, right? So there's some things that are going to matter more to women than they'll matter to you. Like, you probably don't care how she texts you as long as she's actually sending a text. So just try to not take it too personally that women are finicky and picky about certain things. However, there is an exception to the rule. So the next one is don't end your text with a period. It is not correct grammatically, but it is a little bit too, it almost comes across as curt, or, like when you want to end a sentence, you put a period or an exclamation point. It's like, that's my point. So in this case, you just want to sort of trail off. Next one, do use a question mark, but don't go overboard on the exclamation points. So once again, women tend to use exclamation points a lot more often than men. I mean, I didn't make the rule that it's going to be a feminine thing, but it just comes across as a kind of a feminine thing. So you want to avoid using too many exclamation points, but if you do ask a question, then yes, do put a question mark. And don't ghost her in the middle of a conversation. So if you are, suddenly become busy or you have to do something, then tell her, hey, I gotta go, but let's chat later. Or, hey, I'm pretty busy right now, but I'll text you later. Or whatever. And you don't actually have to message. If she's the one initiating, you don't have to reply back right away. But if you're in the middle of a conversation, don't just disappear. That's just rude. That comes off as being a player, or you're uninterested. It's actually just a really low value quality for anyone, man or woman, to display. Okay, next one, number 15. Along with the always leave them wanting more, you are going to want to end the conversation first. Now, you don't just drift off and ghost her, but you want to be the one that says, hey, I've got to go, I've got some things to do. Or I'll give you another example in just a minute. So 16, add a sense of humor. I mean, life is way too serious and it's quite stressful, especially right now. So you want to be able to lighten things up when you're able to make her laugh. That makes her forget about her problems. It also releases feel-good hormones that she then associates with you. So an example of something that you could do is if you can add some humor that's sort of either an inside joke or something related to one of your conversations or something specific that she will associate with the two of you, then that's actually extra bonus points. So let's say you met at Starbucks and her profile says she won't start the day without 3 shots of espresso. So you can text her with, if you're as bold as your coffee choice, I'm in a whole lot of trouble. Wink. Again, along those lines is don't overdo the funnies. If you make everything a joke, then it becomes tedious and it loses its spontaneity. It becomes kind of, makes you appear nervous, and that you use it as a crutch because you're nervous that you can't have regular conversation. So I would say rule of thumb, 1 or 2 laughies per conversation max. Speaking of laughies, don't send the dick pic, okay? Like, just don't do it. Don't do it. Women don't feel the same way about dick pics as you do, unless, again, she's just interested in a hookup. Nonetheless, no matter what, and lots of women have been polled on this, they would rather not have the dick pic sent unless they explicitly ask for the dick pic. So if you don't know if she's just wanting a hookup or a real relationship, then you have to base it on what you might want with her. If you only want a hookup, go ahead. But it's, unless she's slutty slutterson, then she's not going to be, it's going to be a turn off. Like, so if you actually think you might want something, then just don't do it. So a rule of thumb would be that if she sends you a somewhat provocative photo, then you can kind of hint around about if she wants a reciprocal photo, but don't send anything that is more sexually suggestive than wherever she's at. Let her lead in this area. 19. Along the same lines, you do still have to slip in some sexual innuendo to make sure that there is a sexual tension. Otherwise, you are going to just slip into the friend zone. No one wants to be there. So let's see what I wrote down for this. First of all, never start with sexual naughtiness, because then she thinks you're only interested in sex, unless, of course, you are only interested in sex, and you know for sure she is too. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Let's go back to IT Geek. Let's go back to IT Geeky guy. So here's an example. You text, hey Ashley, it's John the IT Geek. Wink. Her, hi John, IT Geek. LOL, what are you up to? Question mark. You, ... Smart guy with a smart job, getting ready to do some smart guy stuff. Wink. Actually, I'm going to work out so I can save the world from the coronavirus. What are you up to today? Her, LOL, nothing quite so ambitious. Thought I'd do something really exciting. Laundry. You, well, it's not going to do itself. I could make a naughty joke out of that, but I'll refrain because you're a lady. Her, haha, not always. A wink. You, Ashley. Tell me more. Her, LOL, ... maybe later, with a heart-eyed emoji. You, I'll take that as a yes. For later, wink. Your laundry in my gym awaits. Talk to you soon. Is that a yes? Question mark. X. And her, KKXO. So why this works. You introduce sexual innuendo in the conversation, but you don't press for photos or sexting right away. Also, she sees this as you leading the conversation and pacing the relationship, and that you're not desperate. As well, she feels that you aren't inappropriately or prematurely making her more important than other things in your life. And while that may sound counterintuitive, it's actually important because women want you to be able to take care of them, but that means that you need to be able to take care of yourself first. And I don't mean financially, taking care of her. As well, you let her know that you will be talking to her again with the TTYS portion and the X. Yes, X. So she doesn't feel like you only want sex. Like since you're not going to the sexual place right in this conversation, that's all you want. No, you've said you're going to talk to her soon. Is that a yes? Confirming, leading and confirming. Now, this is important. If she hadn't written haha, not always, as in not always a good girl kind of thing, but instead she just put haha, then you wouldn't have asked her, obviously, to tell you more. So you just got to kind of pay attention to where the conversation is going. And as well, you would have needed to buffer that last comment and keep the conversation going just for a few more texts before signing off. Otherwise, again, she's just going to assume that, oh, we didn't go to the sexting right away, or oh, I didn't bite on that little flirty sexual bit, so he's just going to ditch now. So if she doesn't bite on that, then you carry on the conversation a little bit and then you sign off. And of course, never open the next conversation with something sexual. So even if she did flirt and say, haha, not always, I'm not always such a good girl, you still don't ever want to open up the next conversation where that left off, because she's reset. She's out in the world. She's reset. Now she's going to think that, again, you just want something sexual. And unless that's all she's interested in, well, she would have already gone there. 21, don't use pet names yet. So don't use bae, babe, baby, sweets, hots, anything until you're at a place in your relationship where you can actually say, hey, do you like it when I call you this? Or I kind of have the feeling I want to call you whatever. Does that feel right for you? So don't be presumptive about pet names, because pet names should be saved more for when you are a little bit further along in your relationship, more intimate, then they actually mean something. And finally, for today, I'm going to make another video with the rest of them, but finally for today, one of the most important tips is to definitely use her name. It's her favorite word in the universe. And it'll make you stand out, because most guys don't use the woman's name, or if they do, it's only in the very first introduction or initial text conversation. But if you use her name in various conversations, you should probably use it at least once in every conversation. You're going to leave a greater positive impression on her than anybody else she might be talking to. Using her name also makes her feel that your interaction is familiar and personal. Familiar and personal make her feel safe. And then the bonus tip is, if you do know her last name, then definitely slip it in somewhere. So you would say, Ashley Brown, I don't know if I could be trusted to hang out with you. You might be trouble. Or whatever, like something like that, where you're using her first name and her last name. If you have any specific text questions, write it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.